We all go through life storms, and it could be the storms of discouragement, the storms of despair, the storms of grief, the storms of loss, whatever the case may be. There are certain seasons in our lives where we face difficult life challenges and we don't even think we're going to make it. I call them the storms of life. It's like we're in this big boat of life that gets attacked by strong winds, fierce winds, and we find ourselves in a storm. But it does matter as to who you call when you face a fierce storm in your life. It does matter as to who is in the boat with you. And it does matter as to where you are going. Where are you going? You are in a boat. Obviously, you're going somewhere. Where are you going and who ordered your trip? Let's go to the Bible and this will make sense. There are two passages of scriptures that I was reading and I found so much correlation and I was fascinated and I want to share them with you. One is in Mark chapter 4, verse 35. Jesus Christ was with his disciples and he said, "Let us go to the other side." Jesus Christ initiated the trip and he said, "Let us go to the other side." They got into the boat and he fell asleep in the boat. They faced a fierce storm and the winds were beating against the boat. The disciples went to him, woke him up and said, "Master, don't you care that we are drowning?" He woke up, rebuked the storm, and there was peace. And the other passage is in Jonah chapter 1. And God had told Jonah to go to the city of Nineveh to preach to them. But Jonah decided to take the boat and he went his own direction and he went to Tarshish. God said, "Go to Nineveh." And Jonah decided to go to Tarshish. He also fell asleep in the boat and there was a fierce storm. The winds were beating against the boat. The people in the boat went to him and woke him up saying, "Hey, wake up, call on your God. Who is your God? Call on your God." Because there was a fierce storm, everybody was calling on their God to save them. And Jonah told them that he serves the true living God. And they were scared, asking him, "What did you do?" And as much as they tried to row against the current, they couldn't. They couldn't make it. And they asked Jonah because they casted the Lord, and the Lord fell on Jonah to show that he was the problem in the boat. And they asked him, they said, "What should we do with you?" He said, "Toss me out of the boat." They did. They threw him off the boat and he got swallowed by the whale. We know the story of Jonah and the whale. So it does matter. Jesus Christ was in the boat. Jonah was in the boat. Jonah was in the boat because he was in the boat. There was so much disruption and everybody was calling on their God. Jonah didn't even call on God. He just like sat there and he was looking at these people rowing and growing and everybody calling on their God. Jonah, the Bible doesn't even say anything about Jonah calling on God, saying, "God, have mercy on me. Yes, I'll go to Nineveh." No, he just said, "Well, toss me out of the boat." But on the other side, the disciples called on Jesus and he rebuked the storm. I want to say that I do face storms as well. Storms of discouragement, storms of despair, storms of thinking, am I delusional? Did God really say? And when it gets hard, I shut down all the noise. I tell my family, I tell my friends that I'm going through a difficult time. I'm seeking the face of God. And I call on God. And He doesn't answer me by taking me out of the storm. And I always say that it's difficult, it's scary, but I'm still here. It's difficult, it's scary, but at least Jesus is in my boat. It's difficult, I'm calling him in despair, saying, "Master, don't you care that I'm perishing?" But at least I'm calling him. Even though I'm calling him in despair, but at least I'm calling him. And he ordered my trip. He is the one who ordered this journey that I'm on. So that is why I was saying in the beginning that it does matter as to where you are going. It does matter as to who ordered your trip. So on the other hand, in Jonah, in the book of Jonah, Jonah was in the boat with other people and there was so much disruption. Everybody was calling on their God. And where was Jonah going? God told Jonah to go one direction and Jonah decided to disobey the Lord. So what do we learn in this passage with Jonah? We learn the character of God, that God is not intimidated by our storms. When you are a child of God, even through disobedience, I'm not saying anyone should disobey the Lord, but it just shows that even when we disobey him, his eye is always upon our lives. Jonah didn't know that God was watching him. Jonah didn't know that this storm, God was going to cause a storm in their boat and that he was going to get thrown off the boat. But it just shows the character of God that even when we fall short, he is always watching us, ready to rescue us. The other thing that I learned from the book of Jonah is that God is not intimidated by our storms I mentioned. And God is not intimidated by the vessel that is carrying us. We might think that we are safe in the boat because if we get thrown out, we might die. But God is saying, even if they throw you out, I am in charge of the sea. I am in charge of the storms. I am in charge of the whales and everything, every creature in the sea. You are safe in the boat. You are safe outside the boat. When you say, Lord, this is the wrong time and the wrong place for me to get off the boat, he says, it is the right time and the right place for me to show you who I am. So I just want to say that these two passages of scriptures are fascinating to me because they show that in one boat, Jesus was in the boat. There was a storm. And another boat, Jonah was in the boat. He was the problem in the boat, but God was still watching over him. I'm not saying that we should intentionally sin, saying that God will take care of us. I'm just saying that he's so merciful and so gracious that even when we're going through difficult times, even though we are ordering our own journeys and we take our own left turns, he is still with us and he's always willing to rescue us, to go back to the mission, to preach the gospel, to go back to make him known. Because now Jonah experienced God in ways that he never experienced him. I don't think Jonah knew that he was going to be thrown into the sea and the whale will swallow him and after 3 days he would be fine. No, but this shows the power of God, the character of God, that he's not intimidated by our storms. My brother, my sister, I don't know what you are going through. Call on Jesus. He's not intimidated by your storm. Whatever situation that you are in, you are feeling like, if I stay, I'm unsafe. If I leave, I'm unsafe. He doesn't judge situations based on how we judge situations. He can do it for you. He did it for Jonah. He can do it for you. Thank you very much, and God bless you.